In today's gaming news, Bear Simulator is like playing Skyrim as a bear, WildStar shows off some of its various modes of PvP, and Dark Souls 2 doesn't look pretty, but at least it's playable. Hello ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome back. This is Force with your day's gaming news. First up today, a newly developed title by the name of Bear Simulator promises to be like exploring through Skyrim, but from the perspective of a bear. This game is being developed by FarJ Studios. This appears to be their first title. It's currently going through Kickstarter, and a gameplay footage video was released showing off doing things such as foraging for berries, stealing some honey, and defending yourself from dangerous animals. This is going to be an exploration-based game with large multi-environment world. Now again, it is currently going through Kickstarter. They've raised about 20,000 of their 30,000 or so goal, and hopefully it makes it to, hopefully it makes it. I'm assuming it will. It's only been up on Kickstarter for a couple of days. This just looks cool. Now, the developers come out to clarify that it's not going to be just like Skyrim, but in the sense that it's a big world with multiple types of environments, and that there's going to be exploration based. I don't expect there to be a ton of crazy combat and, shouts and stuff like that, but this looks neat. I like animals, okay? I like animals. I think animals are cool. And playing as a bear and exploring and foraging for berries and gathering honey and defending myself from pigs, those are all things that I am really interested in doing, so I hope this game does well, because I definitely want to check it out. And speaking of games that I want to check out, WildStar has released a brand new video showing off some of its various modes of PvP. Now, the game is going to have open world PvP, which thank God they're doing that, because some MMOs don't for some reason. And beyond that, there's also going to be things like arenas and battlegrounds. Two modes that I'm sure many MMO players are familiar with. Now, in arenas, it'll be what you expect, two teams duking it out to the death. They also talked about how they're going to have actually respawns in those arenas, like a set number of respawns per team, and then when you run out of respawns and the last person dies, then that's the end of it. And as for the battlegrounds, well, these will be objective-based, things like capture the flag and point capture. Now, you're going to be gaining currency in PvP, and there's also going to be two types of PvP systems. There'll be like a casual one, and then there will be a ranking system where ELO is involved, and you'll be matched up against players of equal skill level, and with that currency and based on your skill level rating, you'll be able to purchase PvP rewards. It's basically what you expect from a modern traditional style PvP. Very similar in many ways to the World of Warcraft PvP system. Now again, I haven't dove too far into WildStar, but I am still interested in at least putting some time into the title if I can pry myself away from ESO, and no, this isn't to speak to the quality of one over the other, it's just ESO has me enthralled, and WildStar really hasn't hooked me quite as of yet. And last up in news today, Dark Souls 2 is a fantastic game by all accounts, but it doesn't look as pretty as people thought it would. And this is all due to the fact that some of the early released footage of the game looked fantastic, and then when put side by side to the console releases that just came out to the PS3 and 360, it looks kind of garbage. I mean, there's a stark difference between what they showed and what people are seeing on the consoles right now. Well, according to an article on Forbes, a source that is close to development of the game said that this all comes down to a playable frame rate. It is strongly suspected that they were focusing heavily on delivering a top-notch experience on PC and underestimated the challenges the new systems would pose on the PS3 and 360. And essentially, the early builds of the game, according to this source that is supposed to be close to developer, the early builds of this game were like playing in Blighttown, but for the entire game. And if you played the original Dark Souls, you would know that Blighttown was notorious for just being terrible. The frame rate, it was almost an unplayable portion of that title. And that was all of Dark Souls 2. And a lot of it had to do because of the limited hardware on these older consoles, now last-gen consoles. What they were trying to do, what they were shooting for in terms of lighting and the graphical fidelity of Dark Souls 2, it just couldn't handle it. The frame rate was choppy. It was not a smooth experience. So they opted on the consoles to put the experience at a lower bar, the visual experience, to make for a better gameplay experience. And when it comes to a game like Dark Souls, I think that's a fair trade, as unfortunate as it might be for people who are looking forward to this increased graphical fidelity in the sequel. We're running on limited hardware, and that's just what it is. Now, what that also leads me to believe, though, is that when the PC version comes out, it's gonna look fantastic, and I really hope that's the case, because the PC master race will strike once again. Truthfully, though, I mean, what do you expect? These are old consoles. It's unfortunate that they showed that footage and led people to believe that that's how it was going to look on the release version of the game, because again, it looks nowhere close to what they showed. But once it comes to the PC, I'll show you guys how beautiful it looks there. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode of The Force Feed. Thank you, as always, so much for watching. If you like the content, please be sure to subscribe. Once again, this has been Force, and you have just been force-fed. I cannot be the only one who wants to forage for berries as a bear. Foraging for berries as a bear. That's the best video game ever.